1650s. The 1650s decade ran from January 1, 1650 to December 31, 1659. Events: 1650. January-June. April 27 Battle of Carbisdale. A royalist army invades mainland Scotland from the Orkney Islands, but is defeated by a Covenanter army. May 17 A quarter of the New Model army at the siege of Clonmel in Ireland is trapped and killed. June 9 The Harvard Corporation, the more powerful of the two administrative boards of Harvard, is established, the first legal corporation in the Americas. June 23 Claimant King Charles Roman II of England, Scotland and Ireland arrives in Scotland at Garmouth, the only one of the three kingdoms that has accepted him as ruler. July-December. August 13 Colonel George Monk forms Monk's Regiment of Foot, forerunner of the Coldstream Guards. September 3 Third English Civil War, Battle of Dunbar 1650 Parliamentarian forces under Oliver Cromwell defeat a Scottish army, commanded by David Leslie. September 27 The Colombo volcano on Santorini experiences a massive eruption VI6. September 29 Henry Robinson opens his Office of Addresses and Encounters, a form of employment exchange in Threadneedle Street, London. November 4 William Roman III of Orange becomes Prince of the House of Orange at the moment of his birth, succeeding his father, who had died a few days earlier. He does not become stadtholder, so the United Provinces becomes a true republic. December 14 Anne Green is hanged at Oxford Castle in England for infanticide, having concealed an illegitimate stillbirth. The following day she revives in the dissection room, and, being pardoned, lives until 1659. December 25 Thomas Cooper, former usher of Gresham's School, England, is hanged as a royalist rebel. Date unknown. The first modern Palio di Siena horse race is held in Italy. Puritans chop down the original Glastonbury thorn in England. English highwayman and Captain James Hind campaigns for the royalist cause according to his own account. Jews are allowed to return to France. Three-wheeled wheelchairs are invented in Nuremberg by watchmaker Stefan Farfler. Ethiopia deports Portuguese diplomats and missionaries. Einkommend Zeitung becomes the first German newspaper, ceases 1918. The town of Sharon, Massachusetts is founded. Estimation Istanbul becomes the largest city of the world, taking the lead from Beijing. 1651. January-June. January 1 Charles Roman II is crowned King of Scots, at Scone his first crowning. January 24 Parliament of Boro in Chile. Spanish and Mapuche authorities meet at Boro, renewing the fragile peace established at the Parliaments of Quilon in 1641 and 1647. February 22 St. Peter's flood, a first storm tide in the North Sea strikes the coast of Germany, drowning thousands. The island of Juist is split in half, and the western half of Buys is probably washed away. March 4-5 St. Peter's flood. Another storm tide in the North Sea strikes the Netherlands, flooding Amsterdam. March 6. The town of Kajani was founded by Count Perbrath the Younger. March 26 Silver-loaded Spanish ship San Jose is pushed south by strong winds. Subsequently it wrecks in the coast of southern Chile, and its surviving crew is killed by indigenous Concos. April Thomas Hobbes publishes his magnum opus, the political tract Leviathan, in England. June 17 Franco-Spanish War 1635–1659. A squadron of Spanish galleys under John of Austria the Younger capture the French galleon Lion Curvon off Formentera, Balearic Islands, Spain. June 28–30 Battle of Berestechko, Ukraine. The Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth Army defeats the Zaporozhian Cossacks in one of the biggest land battles of the century, with some 205,000 troops in the field. July-December. July 20 Battle of Inverkeithing in Scotland. The English Parliamentarian New Model Army, under Major General John Lambert, defeats a Scottish Covenanter army acting on behalf of Charles Roman II, led by Sir John Brown of Fordell. September 1 Siege of Dundee ends with the English Parliamentarian Army, under General Monk, decisively defeating Covenanters in the last battle of the Wars of the Three Kingdoms in Scotland. September 2 Assassination of Kosum Sultan by her daughter-in-law, Turhan Sultan. September 3 English Civil War. Charles Roman II of England, leading a largely Scottish army, is defeated in the Battle of Worcester, the last major battle of the war, and forced to flee. October An English diplomatic team, headed by Oliver St. John, goes to The Hague to negotiate an alliance between the Commonwealth of England and the Dutch Republic. October 14 Laws are passed in Massachusetts, forbidding poor people from adopting excessive styles of dress. October 1516 Escape of Charles Roman II from England to France. December 17 Castle Cornet in Guernsey, the last stronghold which had supported the king in the Third English Civil War, surrenders. Date unknown. The Heian uprising fails in Japan. The first coffee house in England is opened in Oxford, indicative of their increasing popularity in Europe. The Madan Mohenjo Temple is built at Samta, India, a village in the Howrah district of West Bengal. 1652. January-June. January 8 Michiel de Ruyter marries the widow Anna van Gelder and plans retirement, but months later becomes a vice-commodore in the First Anglo-Dutch War. March 29 A total solar eclipse occurs on Black Monday, or on 8 April New Style in the Gregorian calendar. April 6 Dutch sailor Jan van Riebeek establishes a resupply camp for the Dutch East India Company at the Cape of Good Hope in what is now South Africa, thus founding Cape Town. May 18 Rhode Island passes the first law in North America making slavery illegal. May 19 May 29 Gregorian calendar First Anglo-Dutch War. Battle of Dover. The opening battle is fought off Dover between Lieutenant Admiral Martin Harpert soon trumps 42 Dutch ships and 21 English ships divided into two squadrons, one commanded by Robert Blake and the other by Nehemiah Bourne. The result is inconclusive. June 13 George Fox preaches to a large crowd on Furbank Fell in England, leading to the establishment of the Religious Society of Friends Quakers. July-December. August 26 First Anglo-Dutch War. Battle of Plymouth. A fleet from the England attacks an outward-bound convoy of the United Provinces, escorted by 23 men of war and 6 fire ships, commanded by Vice-Commodore Michiel de Ruyter. The Dutch escape. September 7-11 Guo-Huai Rebellion. A peasant revolt against colonial rule in Dutch Formosa is suppressed. October 2 The Great Fire of Oulu destroyed almost all of the houses of the town's bourgeoisie, the provision warehouses and the drawbridge of Oulu Castle in the town of Oulu, Finland. October 8 First Anglo-Dutch War. Battle of the Kentish Knock. In a battle fought near the shoal called the Kentish Knock in the North Sea, about 30 km 19 mi from the mouth of the River Thames, the Dutch are forced to withdraw. December 10 First Anglo-Dutch War. Defeat at the Battle of Dungeness causes the Commonwealth of England to reform its navy. 1653. January-June. January-June The Swiss Peasant War is fought. January 3 By the Coon and Cross Oath, the Eastern Church in India cuts itself off from colonial Portuguese tutelage. February 2 New Amsterdam, later renamed New York City, is incorporated. February 3 Cardinal Mazarin returns to Paris from exile. March 14 A Dutch fleet defeats the English in the Battle of Leghorn. The Dutch commander, Johan van Galen, later dies of his wounds. April 20 Oliver Cromwell expels the Rump Parliament in England. April 28 The Great Fire of Marlborough destroys 224 houses and much of the textile businesses in the Wiltshire town which, at that date, was one of considerable importance and had merchants of affluence and repute. May 31 Ferdinand Roman IV is elected King of the Romans. June 1213 First Anglo-Dutch War. The English navy defeats the Dutch fleet in the Battle of the Gabbard. July-December. July 4, December 12, Barebones Parliament meets in London, England. July 8, John Thurlow becomes Cromwell's head of intelligence. August 8, 10, the Battle of Scheveningen. The final naval battle of the First Anglo-Dutch War is fought off the Texel. The English navy gains a tactical victory over the Dutch fleet. November, John Cassar leaves Anthony Johnson's farm after claiming his contract of indenture had expired. December 16, the instrument of government in England becomes Britain's first written constitution, under which Oliver Cromwell becomes Lord Protector of England, Scotland, and Ireland, being advised by a remodeled English Council of State. This is the start of the first protectorate, bringing an end to the first period of republican government in the country, the Commonwealth of England. Date unknown. Marcello Malpighi becomes a doctor of medicine. Stephen Bacula returns to England. The Morning Star Rebellion breaks out in Sweden against Queen Christina. The Taj Mahal Mausoleum is completed at Agra. Frederick William, Elector of Brandenburg, reconfirms the nobility's freedom from taxation and its unlimited control over the peasants. Petit post, a system of postage using prepaid labels and post boxes, is introduced in Paris by Jean-Jacques Renoir de Valère. 1654. January-June. January 11, a Spanish army is defeated by local Mapuche Huiliches as it tries to cross Bueno River in southern Chile. March 1213, the Treaty of Pereyaslav is concluded in the city of Pereyaslav during the meeting between the Cossacks of the Zaporozhian host and Tsar Alexei I of Russia, following the end to the Khmelnytsky uprising in Ukraine, which had started in 1648 and had resulted in the massacre of many thousands of Jews. April 5, the Treaty of Westminster, ending the First Anglo-Dutch War, is signed. April 11, a commercial treaty between England and Sweden is signed. April 12, Oliver Cromwell creates a union between England and Scotland, with Scottish representation in the Parliament of England. May 8, Otto von Guericke demonstrates the power of atmospheric pressure and the effectiveness of his vacuum pump. June 3, Louis Roman XIV of France is crowned at Reims. June 6, old-style Charles X. Gustav succeeds his cousin Christina on the Swedish throne. After her abdication on the same day, Christina, now the former reigning queen of a Protestant nation, secretly converts to Catholicism. July-December. July, the Russian army seizes Smolensk and the 13 Years' War starts between Russia and Poland over Ukraine. July 10, Peter Vowell and John Gerard are executed in London for plotting to assassinate Oliver Cromwell. July 10, Don Pantalon, brother of the Portuguese ambassador, is executed after the death of an innocent man following a fracas at the Exchange in Exeter. August, Oliver Cromwell launches the Western Design, an English expedition to the Caribbean to counter Spanish commercial interests, effectively beginning the Anglo-Spanish War, which will last until after the English Restoration in 1660. The fleet leaves Portsmouth in late December. August 22, Jewish arrival in New Amsterdam. 23 Sephardic Jews arrive as refugees from Brazil and settle in New Amsterdam, forming the nucleus of what will be the second largest urban Jewish community in history, that of New York City, and of Congregation Shireth Israel, the first synagogue in North America. September 3, in England, the first Protectorate Parliament assembles. September 12, Oliver Cromwell orders the exclusion of 120 members of Parliament who are hostile to him. October 12, the Delft explosion in the arsenal devastates the city in the Netherlands, killing more than 100, among whom is Karel Fabricius 32, the most promising student of Rembrandt. October 31, Ferdinand Maria, Elector of Bavaria, is crowned. His absolutist style of leadership becomes a benchmark for the rest of Germany. November 23, French mathematician, scientist, and religious philosopher Blaise Pascal experiences an intense mystical vision that marks him for life. 1655. January-June. January 5, Emperor Go-Sai ascends to the throne of Japan. February 14, the Mapuches launch coordinated attacks against the Spanish in Chile, beginning the Mapuche Uprising of 1655. February 16, Dutch Grand Pensionary Advisor Johan de Witt marries Wendella Bicker. March 8, John Cassar becomes the first legally recognized slave as a result of a civil case in what will be the United States. March 25, Saturn's largest moon, Titan, is discovered by Christian Huygens. April 4, Battle of Porto Farina, Tunis, English Admiral Robert Blake's fleet defeats the Barbary pirates. April 7, Pope Alexander Roman VII-born Fabio Chicchi succeeds Pope Innocent X as the 237th Pope. April 24, the Easter massacre of the Waldensians, Charles Emmanuel Roman II, Duke of Savoy slaughters 1,500 men, women and children. This is memorialized in John Milton's sonnet on the late massacre in Piedmont and apologized for by Pope Francis in 2015. April 26, the Dutch West India Company denies Peter Stuyvesant's request to exclude Jews from New Amsterdam, Manhattan. April 28, Admiral Blake severely damages the arsenal of the Bay of Tunis. May 1027, Anglo-Spanish War, invasion of Jamaica, forces of the English Protectorate led by William Penn and Robert Venables capture the island of Jamaica from Spain. June 13, Adriana Newseman van den Berg becomes the first actress in Amsterdam theatre. July-December. July 20, the Amsterdam Town Hall, now the Royal Palace, is inaugurated. July 27, the Jews in New Amsterdam petition for a separate Jewish cemetery. The Netherlands and Brandenburg sign a military treaty. July 30, Dutch troops capture Fort Asahudi-Suram. July 31, Russo-Polish War 1654–67, the Russian army enters the capital of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, Vilnius, which it holds for 6 years. August 9, Lord Protector Oliver Cromwell divides England into 11 districts under major generals. August 28, New Amsterdam and Peter Stuyvesant bar colonial Jews from military service. August, the governor of New Netherland, Peter Stuyvesant, attacks the New Sweden-Delaware colony. September 8, Swedish King Carl X Gustav occupies Warsaw, Poland. September 26, Peter Stuyvesant recaptures Dutch Fort Casimir and defeats the New Sweden-Delaware colony. October 15, the Jews of Lublin are massacred. October 19, Swedish King Carl X Gustav occupies Krakow, Poland. November 3, England and France sign military and economic treaties. November 24, English Lord Protector Oliver Cromwell bans Anglicans. December 4, Middelburg, the Netherlands forbids the building of a synagogue. December 18, the Whitehall Conference ends with the determination that there was no law preventing Jews from re-entering England after the Edict of Expulsion of 1290. December 27, Second Northern War / the Deluge. Monks at the Jasna-Gora Monastery in Czestochowa are successful in fending off a month-long siege. Date unknown. Stefan Farfler, a 22-year-old paraplegic watchmaker, built the world's first self-propelling chair on a 3-wheel chassis using a system of cranks and cogwheels. However, the device had an appearance of a hand bike more than a wheelchair, since the design included hand cranks mounted at the front wheel. The Bibliotheca Thysiana is erected, the only surviving 17th-century example in the Netherlands of a building designed as a library. A plague outbreak kills 20 people in Malton. 1656. January-June. January 17, the Treaty of Königsberg is signed, establishing an alliance between Charles X Gustav of Sweden and Frederick William, Elector of Brandenburg. January 24, the first Jewish doctor in the 13 colonies of America, Jacob Lombroso, arrives in Maryland. April 1, Elwau oath, John Roman II Casimir Vasa, King of Poland, crowns the Black Madonna of Czestochowa as Queen and Protector of Poland in the Cathedral of Elwau, after the miraculous saving of the Jasna-Gora Monastery during the Deluge, an event which changed the course of the Second Northern War. April 2, the Treaty of Brussels is signed, creating an alliance between Philip Roman IV of Spain and the exiled royalists of the British Isles, led by Charles Roman II. April 28, Dutch East India Company ship Vergold Dreek is wrecked off Ledge Point, Western Australia, on a voyage from Cape of Good Hope to Batavia. 7 crew make safety, but rescue missions fail to find other survivors. May 12, the Dutch capture the city of Colombo, Sri Lanka, marking the start of Dutch Ceylon. July-December. July, in an attempt to rescue survivors of the Vergold Dreek, a search party is sent ashore in Goedhoop's boat, which smashes against rocks and sinks. 8 sailors drown, 3 more disappear ashore. July 27, a writ of excommunication is issued against Baruch Spinoza. July 28, 30, Battle of Warsaw, led by King Charles X. Gustav of Sweden. The armies of the Swedish Empire and the Margraviate of Brandenburg defeat the forces of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth near Warsaw. September 15, Kaprulu Mahmud Pasha becomes Grand Vizier of the Ottoman Empire. December, the pendulum clock is invented by Christian Huygens. December 20, the Treaty of Labiau is signed between Charles X. Gustav of Sweden and Frederick William, Elector of Brandenburg. Undated. The Stockholm Banco, the first bank to issue banknotes, is founded in Stockholm, Sweden. The only English 50-shilling coin is minted. Kanuk Zeneman, son of Kanuk Shinroku, founds a baking and money-changing business in Osaka, Japan. Adams Grammar School at Newport, Shropshire, England, is founded by William Adams. Physician Samuel Stockhausen of the metal mining town of Goslar, Lower Saxony, publishes his libellus De Lithargeriae Fumonoxio Morbifico, Ejust Metallico Frequentieri Morbo Vulgo Dicto, Die Huttenkatze oder Huttenrauch, treatise on the noxious fumes of litharge, diseases caused by them, and miners' asthma, a pioneering study of 1657. January-June. January, 8 miles. Sindercombe and his group of disaffected levellers are betrayed in their attempt to assassinate Oliver Cromwell by blowing up the Palace of Whitehall in London, and arrested. February 4, Oliver Cromwell gives Antonio Fernandez Carvajal the assurance of the right of Jews to remain in England. February 23, in England, the humble petition and advice offers Lord Protector Cromwell the crown. March 2, the Great Fire of Meriki in Edo, Japan, destroys most of the city and damages Edo Castle, killing an estimated 100,000 people. March 23, Anglo-Spanish War 1654–60. By the Treaty of Paris, France and England form an alliance against Spain. England will receive Dunkirk. April 20, Anglo-Spanish War, Battle of Santa Cruz de Tenerife. English Admiral Robert Blake attempts to seize a Spanish treasure fleet. The Jews of New Amsterdam, later New York, are granted freedom of religion as full citizens. May 8, Lord Protector Cromwell confirms his refusal of the Crown of England, preferring the title Lord Protector. June 1, King Frederick Roman III of Denmark signs a manifesto de facto declaring war on Sweden. The first 11 Quaker settlers arrive in New Amsterdam, later New York, and are allowed to practice their faith. July-December. July 13, following his refusal to take the oath of allegiance to Oliver Cromwell, English Army leader John Lambert is ordered to resign his commissions. August 20, the ship Les Armes d'Amsterdam arrives at Quebec, New France. Among the passengers is Mitchell Matthew Brunnett de Lestang, 1638–1708, colonist, explorer, and co-discoverer of what is today Green Bay, Wisconsin. He is the ancestor of the Brunnett, Lestang, and Caris families of North America. September, Shah Jahan becomes ill, allowing his son to take control of the Mughal Empire. September 19, Brandenburg and Poland sign the Treaty of Wehlau. September 24, the first autopsy and coroner's jury verdict are recorded in the colony of Maryland. October 1, Treaty of Ralt, William Roman III, Prince of Orange, is no longer stadtholder of Overijssel. October 3, French troops occupy Mardyck. November 6, Brandenburg and Poland sign the Treaty of Bromberg. November 10, Christina, former Queen of Sweden, has Gian Rinaldo Monaldeschi killed in her presence at the Palace of Fontainebleau. December 27, the Flushing Remonstrance is signed in New Amsterdam at the site of the future 1862 Flushing Town Hall in New York. Date unknown. The Accademia del Cimento is founded in Florence, Italy. England's first chocolate house is opened in London, and introduction of tea in England, while coffee is introduced to France. Christian Huygens writes the first book to be published on probability theory, De Ratiocinias in Ludo a Leon Reasoning in Games of Chance. Andreas Griffius drama, Katharina von Georgian is published. Thomas Middleton's tragedy, Women Beware Women, is published posthumously. 1658. January-June. January 13, Edward Sexby, who had plotted against Oliver Cromwell, dies in the Tower of London. February 6, Swedish troops of Charles X. Gustav of Sweden cross the Great Belt in Denmark, over frozen sea. February 26, March 8, NS. The peace between Sweden and Denmark is concluded in Roskilde by the Treaty of Roskilde, under which Denmark is forced to cede significant territory. March 22, the ship Weekend Bowie is wrecked on the coast of Java. The 4 survivors walk overland to Japara. May 1, Hydritaphia, Urn Burial and the Garden of Ceres are published by Thomas Brown in England. June 3, Pope Alexander Roman 7 appoints Francois de Laval Vicar Apostolic of New France. June 14, Anglo-Spanish War 1654–60 and Franco-Spanish War 1635–59. Battle of the Dunes, a Spanish force attempting to lift a siege of Dunkirk, is defeated by the French and English. England is then given Dunkirk for its assistance in the victory. June 25–27, Anglo-Spanish War, Battle of Rio Nuvo, a Spanish invasion force fails to recapture Jamaica from the English. July–December. July, Tsar Huda's Manchu fleet annihilates Onufry Stepanov's Russian flotilla on the Amur River. July 31, after Shah Jahan completes the Taj Mahal, his son Aurangzeb deposes him as ruler of the Mughal Empire. September 3, Oliver Cromwell dies, and his son Richard assumes his father's former position as Lord Protector of England, Scotland, and Ireland. September 17, Portuguese Restoration War, Battle of Villanova. A Spanish army, having crossed the Minho, defeats the Portuguese. Date unknown. Portuguese traders are expelled from Ceylon by Dutch invaders. The Dutch in the Cape Colony start to import slaves from India and Southeast Asia, later from Madagascar. 1659. January-June. January 14, Portuguese Restoration War, Battle of the Lines of Elvas. The Portuguese beat the Spanish. January 24, Pierre Corneille's edict premieres in Paris. February 2, Jan van Riebeek produces the first South African wine at the Cape of Good Hope. February 11, the assault on Copenhagen by Swedish forces is beaten back with heavy losses. February 16, the first known cheque £400 is written. April 22, Lord Protector Richard Cromwell dissolves the English Parliament. May 21, the Kingdom of France, the Commonwealth of England, and the Dutch Republic sign the Concert of The Hague. May 25, Richard Cromwell resigns as English Lord Protector. May 31, the Netherlands, England, and France sign the Treaty of The Hague. June 29, Russo-Polish War 1654–67, Battle of Konotop. July-December. July, Christian Huygens' important work on astronomy, Systema Saturnium, is published. July 16, Princess Henriette Catherine of Nassau marries John George IV. September 30, Peter Stuyvesant of New Netherland forbids tennis playing during religious services. First mention of tennis in what will be the U.S. October 12, the English Rump Parliament dismisses John Lambert and other generals. October 13, General Major John Lambert drives out the English Rump government. November 7, Treaty of the Pyrenees. King Louis Roman XIV of France and King Philip Roman IV of Spain agree to French acquisition of the counties of Roussillon and Upper Sardinia, Principality of Catalonia, and most of Artois, and formally in their 24-year war. November 25, Dutch forces under Michiel de Ruyter freed the Danish city of Nyborg from Swedish conquest earlier in the year. December 16, General Monk demands free parliamentary elections in Scotland. December 26, the Long Parliament, reforms occur in Westminster. Date unknown. First British colonists arrive on St. Helena. Spanish Infanta Maria Teresa brings cocoa to Paris. Diego Velázquez's portrait of Infanta Maria Teresa is first exhibited. Thomas Hobbes publishes De Homine. Parisian police raid a monastery, sending monks to prison for eating meat and drinking wine during Lent. Drought occurs in India. Peter Swink, the first known non-white settler to own land in Massachusetts, and first known African to live in Springfield, Massachusetts, arrives. He holds a seat in the town meetings. Births: 1650. January 1, George Rooke, Royal Navy Admiral, d. 1709. January 10, Countess Sophie Amalie of Nassau-Siegen, Duchess Consort of Curland, 1682 – 1688 d. 1688. February 2, Nell Gwyn, English actress and royal mistress, d. 1687. February 5, in Jules, 2nd Duc de Noailles, French general, d. 1708. February 26, Thomas Morin de Poveda, 1st Marquis of Canada Hermoso, royal governor of Chile, d. 1703. February 27, Jan Burkhalde, Dutch painter, d. 1693. March 6, John Conyers, MP, born 1650, English politician, d. 1725. March 24, Sir Jonathan Trelawney, 3rd Baronet, British bishop, d. 1721. March 25, Sir Richard Cox, 1st Baronet, England, d. 1733. Ernest, Count of Stolberg-Ilsenburg, German nobleman, d. 1710. April 10, Sebastiano Antonio Tanora, Spanish Catholic cardinal, d. 1724. April 15, Hedwig of the Palatinate Sulzbach, Archduchess of Austria, Duchess of Saxe-Lauenburg, d. 1681. April 18, Sir Edward During, 3rd Baronet, English politician, d. 1689. April 20, Phyllis Bosley, Italian painter, d. 1732. William Bedloe, English fraudster and informer, d. 1680. April 27, Charlotte Amalie of Hesse-Kassel, Queen Consort of Denmark, 1670–1699 d. 1714. May 19, Cornelis H.R.R. Ritter de Greef, Dutch nobleman and chief landholder of the Zape and Hayes polder, d. 1678. May 26, John Churchill, 1st Duke of Marlborough, English general, d. 1722. June 5, Agasawara Nagashige, Japanese daimyo, d. 1732. June 14, Carlo Alessandro Guidi, Italian lyric poet, d. 1712. June 25, Joseph Sherman, Massachusetts Bay Colony, American politician, d. 1731. July 1, Maria Anna Wasa, Polish princess, d. 1651. 51. July 6, Frederick Casimir Kettler, Duke of Curland and Semigalia, d. 1698. July 25, William Burkitt, English biblical expositor, vicar in Dedham, d. 1703. July 30, Edward Louis Devizes, MP, English politician, d. 1674. August 7, Louis Joseph, Duke of Guise, d. 1671. August 16, Vincenzo Coromoli, Franciscan friar, Italian cartographer, encyclopedist, d. 1718. August 17, Jean Gaston, Duke of Valois, d. 1652. August 27, Carl Philipp, Reichsgraf von Weilich und Lottum, Prussian Field Marshal, d. 1719. August 30, Ludovico Sabatini, Italian priest, d. 1724. September 7, Juan Manuel Maria de la Aurora, 8th Duke of Escalona, Spanish aristocrat, d. 1725. September 14, Theophilus Oglethorpe, English soldier, MPD 1702. September 20 Adrian Beverland, Dutch philosopher and jurist who settled in England d. 1716. September 23 Jeremy Collier, English theatre critic, non-juror bishop and theologian d. 1726. October 9 René Auguste Constantin de Reneville, French writer d. 1723. October 10 Jane Rolfe, granddaughter of Pocahontas d. 1676. Ulisse Giuseppe Gazzadini, Italian Catholic cardinal d. 1728. October 19 Charles Erskine, Earl of Mar d. 1689. October 20 Robert Shirley, 1st Earl Ferrers, English peer and courtier d. 1717. October 21 Jean Bart, French admiral d. 1702. October 24 Stephen Blancart, Dutch entomologist d. 1704. November 4 King William Roman III of England, Scotland, and Ireland d. 1702. November 7 John Robinson, English diplomat d. 1723. November 17 Joanna Carton, Dutch painter d. 1715. November 18 Robert Walpole 1650–1700, English politician d. 1700. November 19 Henry, Duke of Saxe-Romhild d. 1710. November 23 Joseph Oriol, Spanish Catholic priest, Saint d. 1702. November 28 Jan Palfejan, Flemish surgeon and obstetrician d. 1730. November 30 Domenico Martinelli, Italian architect d. 1718. December 3 August of Saxe-Weissenfels 1650–1674, Prince of Saxe-Weissenfels and Provost of Magdeburg d. 1674. December 6 Johann Friedrich Mayer, theologian, German Lutheran theologian d. 1712. December 10 Theophilus Hastings, 7th Earl of Huntingdon d. 1701. December 16 Alexander Hermann, Count of Wharton-Sleben, Prussian Field Marshal d. 1734. Sir Robert Marsham, 4th Baronet, English politician d. 1703. December 17 Christoph Arnold, German astronomer d. 1695. December 25 Claude Avenot, French missionary d. 1711. Date unknown. Thomas Savery, English engineer and inventor d. 1715. Jan Antonin Losey, Czech lutist d. 1721–1651. January 9 Petronio Franciscini, Italian Baroque composer d. 1680. January 18 William Coddington, Jr., Rhode Island colonial governor d. 1689. January 19 Johannes Wolfgang von Bodman, German bishop d. 1691. January 20 Edward Tyson, British scientist d. 1708. February 2 or 1950 William Phipps, first royal governor of the province of Massachusetts b.d. 1695. February 9 Procopio Cuto, French entrepreneur d. 1727. February 11 Sir Ralph Assheton, 2nd Baronet of Middleton, English politician d. 1716. February 11 Anne Scott, 1st Duchess of Buccleuch, wealthy Scottish peeress d. 1732. February 21 Silvius Roman II Frederick, Duke of Württemberg-Ols d. 1697. February 25 Quirinus Kuhlmann, German Baroque poet and mystic d. 1689. February 26 Pieter van der Hulst, Dutch painter d. 1727. March 2 Carlo Gamache, Maltese architect, engineer, and poet d. 1730. D. 1730, 1830. March 4 John Somers, 1st Baron Somers, Lord Chancellor of England d. 1716. March 31 Karl Roman II, Elector Palatine of Germany d. 1685. April 2 Fabrizio Paolucci, Italian Catholic cardinal d. 1726. April 6 André Dacier, French classical scholar d. 1722. April 10 Ehrenfried Walther von Tschirnhaus, German mathematician d. 1708. April 17, Giuseppe Arcanto, Italian cardinal, Archbishop of Milan d. 1712. April 21, Blessed Joseph Vaz, Apostle of Ceylon d. 1711. April 30, Jean-Baptiste de La Salle, French educational reformer d. 1719. May 17, Jacques Gravier, French Jesuit missionary in the New World d. 1708. May 27, Louis Antoine, Cardinal de Noailles, French bishop d. 1729. June 6, Willem van Ingen, Dutch painter d. 1708. June 10, Alexander Edward, Scottish landscape architect d. 1708. June 21, William Roman VII, Landgrave of Hesse-Kassel d. 1670. July 4, Honoratus of Sancta Maria, French Discalced Carmelite d. 1729. July 12, Margaret Theresa of Spain d. 1673. July 22, Ferdinand Tobias Richter, Austrian Baroque composer d. 1711. July 26, Jacques Bigot, Jesuit, French Jesuit priest, missionary to the Abenakis in Canada d. 1711. August 6, Francois Fenelon, Archbishop of Cambrai, France d. 1715. August 6, Carl Gustav Rehnskjold, Swedish Field Marshal d. 1722. August 13, Balthasar Permoser, German sculptor d. 1732. August 25, Francois Bert, Jesuit hagiographer d. 1719. September 1, Natalia Kyrilovna Narishkina, Tsaritsa of Russia d. 1694. September 2, Zubdat-un-Nisa, Mughal princess, daughter of Emperor Aurangzeb d. 1707. September 5, William Dampier, English explorer d. 1715. September 6, Aiyama Tadao, Japanese daimyo d. 1685. September 16, Engelbert Kempfer, German physician, traveler d. 1716. September 26, Francis Daniel Pastorius, German founder of Germantown, Pennsylvania d. 1720. October 24, Jean de la Chapelle, French writer and dramatist d. 1723. October 26, Perizonius, Dutch linguist d. 1715. November 1, Jean-Baptiste Colbert, Marquis de Seignelay, French politician d. 1690. November 12, Juana Inés de la Cruz, Mexican nun, writer and poet d. 1695. December 25, Pedro Manuel Colin de Portugal d. 1710. December 28, Johann Krieger, German composer and organist d. 1735. Date unknown, Gorjan Khan, Persian governor of Kandahar d. 1709–1652. January 2. Sir Gilbert Heathcote, 1st Baronet, Lord Mayor of London d. 1733. Mitchell Chamillart, French statesman d. 1721. 21. January 7, Pavel Ritter Vajtsovic, Croatian historian d. 1713. January 8, Wilhelm Halmerg, Dutch alchemist d. 1715. January 11, Eugen Alexander France, first Prince of Thurn and Taxis, Germany d. 1714. January 13, Henry Booth, 1st Earl of Warrington, English politician d. 1694. January 16, Anthony Ashley Cooper, 2nd Earl of Shaftesbury, English politician d. 1699. January 17, Claude Guy French painter d. 1736. February 6, Francesco Pignatelli, Italian Catholic cardinal d. 1734. February 13, Anton Domenico Gabbiani, Italian painter d. 1726. August, Duke of Schleswig, Holstein-Sonderburg Beck d. 1689. February 14, Camille d. Hoston, Duc de Tallard, Marshal of France d. 1728. March 1, Louis de Sabran, British theologian d. 1732. March 3, Thomas Otway, English dramatist d. 1685. March 10, Giacomo Serpata, Italian artist d. 1732. March 12, Johann Heinrich Ernesti, German philosopher. theologian, d. 1729. March 14, Benedict Henrietta of the Palatinate, German princess, d. 1730. March 20, Leon Basily Sapieha, Polish-Lithuanian politician, d. 1686. March 21, Piers Butler, 3rd Viscount Galmoy, Anglo-Irish nobleman, d. 1740. March 28, Samuel Sewall, English-born Massachusetts judge, d. 1730. April 7, Pope Clement, Roman 12, d. 1740. April 9, Jean Lefebvre, astronomer, French astronomer, d. 1706. Christian Ulrich I, Duke of Württemberg-Ols, d. 1704. April 13, Thomas Ward, author, English writer, d. 1708. April 21, Mitchell Rolle, French mathematician, d. 1719. April 25, Boris Sheremetev, Russian noble, d. 1719. Giovanni Battista Ferragini, Italian artist, d. 1725. April 28, Magdalena Sibylla of Hesse-Darmstadt, regent and composer, d. 1712. May 1, John King, rector of Chelsea, English churchman, d. 1732. May 2, Abraham Hinckelmann, German Protestant theologian, d. 1695. May 7, Edward Northey, barrister, British barrister and politician, d. 1723. May 11, Johann Philipp Darko, Austrian soldier, d. 1704 or 04. May 14, Juliana of Hesse-Schwedge, German noblewoman, d. 1693. Johann Philipp Forch, German opera composer, d. 1732. May 20, Ikaijo Kanetaru, Japanese court noble, d. 1705. May 27, Elizabeth Charlotte, Princess Palatine, wife to Philip I, Duke of Orleans, d. 1722. June 1, Juan Ferrers, Spanish priest, d. 1735. June 23, Jan Brockhoff, German sculptor, d. 1718. August 3, Samuel Western, English politician, d. 1699. August 15, John Grubb, American politician, d. 1708. John Wise, clergyman, American Christian clergyman, d. 1725. August 26, Tsarevna Marfa Alexeyevna of Russia, d. 1707. August 31, Ferdinando Carlo Gonzaga, Duke of Mantua and Montferrat, only child of Duke Charles Roman II, d. 1708. September 4, Jean Ory, French economist, d. 1719. Takugawa Tsunenari, Japanese daimyo, d. 1699. September 8, Lewis Roldan, Spanish artist, d. 1706. September 10, Jan Sladky Kazana, Czech revolutionary, d. 1695. September 12, Frederick Charles, Duke of Württemberg, Winental, d. 1697. October 11, Nathaniel Higginson, English politician, d. 1708. October 16, Karl, Prince of Anhalt-Zerbst, d. 1718. Jan Mortel, painter from the northern Netherlands, d. 1719. October 29, Jan Wick, Dutch military painter, d. 1702. November 1, William Lones, English politician, d. 1724. November 3, Louis, Duke of Rohan, French noble, d. 1727, T7. November 4, Marc René de Voyer de Paulmy d'Argenson, 1652–1721, French politician, d. 1721. November 9, Marie Anne d'Orleans, French princess, d. 1656. November 10, Johann Ernst Gluck, German theologian, translator, d. 1705. December 2, Carolina of Legnica-Brieg, Silesian noblewoman, d. 1707. December 9, Augustus Quirinus Rivinus, German physician and botanist, d. 1723. Robert Rochfort, Irish politician, d. 1727. December 10 Frederick, Duke of Schleswig-Holstein, Augustenburg, German nobleman d. 1692. December 20 Samuel Bradford, English churchman, Whig politician d. 1731. 31. December 25 Archibald Pitcairn, Scottish physician d. 1713–1653. January 6 Christian, Duke of Saxe-Eisenberg d. 1707. January 10 Caspar Hermann Haussmann, Danish-Norwegian general d. 1718. January 11 Antony Gunther, Prince of Anhalt-Zerbst, German prince d. 1714. January 11 Paolo Alessandro Maffei, Italian antiquarian, humanist d. 1716. January 14 Robert Price Judge, British judge and politician d. 1733. January 16 Johann Conrad Brunner, Swiss anatomist d. 1727. January 24 Dom Jacques Alexander, French Benedictine d. 1734. January 31 William Tempest politician, English member of Parliament d. 1700. January 31 Anna Catherine of Nassau-Ottweiler, Wild and Reinigravine of Salm-Dihon by marriage d. 1731. February 12 Giovanni Francesco Grossi, Italian opera singer d. 1697. February 17 Arcangelo Corelli, Italian composer d. 1713. February 22 Martin de Ursua, Spanish conquistador d. 1715. February 22 Elizabeth Johanna of Veldenz, Wild and Reinigravine of Salm-Kieburg d. 1718. February 22 Vidal Marin del Campo, Spanish Grand Inquisitor d. 1709. March 1 Jean-Baptiste Henry de Vaillincker, French classical scholar d. 1730. March 1 Pacificus of San Severino, Italian saint d. 1721. March 8 Goodwin Wharton, British politician d. 1704. March 10 John Kettlewell, English clergyman d. 1695. March 10 John Benbow, English Royal Navy admiral d. 1702. March 21 John Hampden 1653–1696, English politician d. 1696. March 24 Joseph Sauveur, French mathematician d. 1716. April 2 Prince George of Denmark, consort of and Queen of Great Britain d. 1708. April 2 Egidio Quinto, Serbian Catholic bishop d. 1722. April 6 Frederick Louis, Duke of Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg-Beck d. 1728. April 19 William Sewell, Dutch historian d. 1720. April 25 Benedetto Pamphili, Italian cardinal, patron of the arts, composer and librettist d. 1730. April 25 Sir John Bowyar, 2nd Baronet, English politician d. 1691. May 3 Archibald Douglas, 1st Earl of Forfar, Scottish peer d. 1712. May 8 Claude Louis Hector de Villars, Marshal of France d. 1734. May 21 Eleanor of Austria, Queen of Poland d. 1697. May 21 Christopher Vane, 1st Baron Barnard, English politician and peer d. 1723. May 22 Peter Gott, English politician d. 1712. May 30 Claudia Felicitas of Austria, Holy Roman Empress d. 1676. June 1 Georg Muffet, German composer and organist d. 1704. June 11 Gaspar de la Cerda, 8th Count of Galve d. 1697. T7. June 12 Maria Amelia of Kurland, Landgravine of Hesse-Kassel d. 1711. June 16 James Bertie, 1st Earl of Abingdon, English nobleman d. 1699. June 20 Richard Maitland, 4th Earl of Lauderdale, Scottish politician d. 1695. June 26 Cardinal André Hercule de Fleury, Bishop of Fréjus, Chief Minister of France under Louis Roman XV of France d. 1743. June 28 Mohammed Azim Shah, Mughal Emperor d. 1707. July 4 Sir Walter Clarges, 1st Baronet, English politician d. 1706. July 5 Thomas Pitt, British Governor of Madras d. 1726. July 11 Sarah Good, accused Massachusetts, which d. 1692. August 9 John Oldham, English poet d. 1683. August 10 Louis Guillaume-Pecker, French dancer and choreographer d. 1729. August 14 Christopher Monk, 2nd Duke of Albemarle, English statesman d. 1688. August 15 Johann Friedrich Gleditsch, German book publisher d. 1716. August 18 Julius Siegmund, Duke of Württemberg Juliusburg d. 1684. August 28 Jesper Swedberg, Swedish hymn writer d. 1735. September 1 Johann Pachelbel, German organist and composer d. 1706. September 3 Roger North, English lawyer and biographer d. 1734. September 4 Henry Wise Gardiner, English gardener d. 1738. September 8 Sir Walter Yonge, 3rd Baronet, English politician d. 1731. September 8 Fuquan Prince, Chinese Qing Dynasty Prince d. 1703. September 17 Sir Henry Monson, 3rd Baronet, English politician d. 1718. October 1 Sir George Speke, 2nd Baronet, English politician d. 1683. October 8 Mitchell Baron, French actor d. 1729. October 10 Anton Gunther Roman II, Count of Schwarzburg Sondershausen Arnstedt d. 1716. October 18 Abraham van Riebeek, Governor-General of the Dutch East Indies d. 1713. November 11 Carlo Rizzini, Doge of Venice d. 1735. November 14 Jean-Baptiste de Lacroix de Chevriers de Saint-Vallier, Catholic Bishop of Quebec d. 1727. November 19 Christian Roman II, Duke of Saxe-Merseburg d. 1694. November 26 Impressed Xiaoqingren, Chinese Qing Dynasty Impress d. 1674. November 29 Thomas Cromwell, 3rd Earl of Argyll, English nobleman d. 1682. December 3 Giovanni Battista Tolomei, Italian Jesuit priest, theologian and cardinal d. 1726. December 26 Johann Conrad Payer, Swiss anatomist d. 1712. December 28 Mary Howard, of the Holy Cross, English nun of the Poor Clares d. 1735. Date unknown. Chikamatsu Monzeman, Japanese playwright d. 1725. Rahman Baba, Afghan Pashto Sufi poet d. 1711. Johann Pachelbel, German composer d. 1706–1654. January 5 Henry Poley, English politician d. 1707. January 10 Joshua Barnes, English scholar d. 1712. January 10 Giovanni Maria Gabrieli, Italian Catholic cardinal d. 1711. January 20 Michiel de Sween, Flemish poet d. 1707. January 22 Richard Blackmore, English physician and writer d. 1729. February 3 Pietro Antonio Fiacco, Italian composer d. 1714. February 12 Dorothea Maria of Saxe-Gotha-Altenburg, German princess d. 1682. February 15 Tsarevich Alexei Alexeyevich of Russia, son and heir of Tsar Alexis of Russia d. 1670. February 22 Elizabeth Monk, Duchess of Albemarle d. 1734. March 6 Andreas Akalufis, German scholar d. 1704. March 9 Robert Leake, 3rd Earl of Scarsdale, English earl politician d. 1707. March 10 Giuseppe Bartolomeo Chiari, Italian painter d. 1727. March 12 Charles Egerton MP for Brackley, English politician d. 1717. March 12 Giuseppe Passeri, Italian painter d. 1714. March 12 Jan Hugsot, Dutch painter d. 1730. March 12 Frederick Augustus, Duke of Württemberg-Neuenstedt d. 1716. March 16 Andreas Acaluthus, German Orientalist d. 1704. March 28 Sophie Amalie Moth, Royal Mistress of King Christian V of Denmark d. 1719. March 28 Joan de Cabanis, Occitan language writer d. 1711. March 31 Lorenzo Cazza, Italian Catholic cardinal d. 1729. April 8 Peter Krog, Lutheran bishop d. 1731. April 20 John Backwell, English politician d. 1708. April 27 Charles Blount deist, English deist and philosopher d. 1693. April 30 Robert Digby, 3rd Baron Digby, English peer and member of Parliament d. 1677. May 4 Kangxi Emperor of King China d. 1722. May 13 Thomas Leonard, 1st Earl of Sussex, English cricketer d. 1715. May 23 Nicodemus Tesson, the Younger, Swedish architect d. 1728. May 28 Thomas Hancock, Irish politician d. 1726. June 4 Jean-François Gerblin, French Jesuit missionary active in China d. 1707. June 23 Grzegorz Antoni Oginski, Polish-Lithuanian noble d. 1709 and 09. June 23 Richard Onslow, 1st Baron Onslow, English politician d. 1717. June 23 Sophia of Saxe-Weissenfels, Princess of Anhalt-Zerbst d. 1724. June 24 Thomas Fuller writer, British physician d. 1734. June 30 Thomas Rice 1654, Massachusetts legislator d. 1747. July 1 Louis Joseph, Duke of Vendôme, French military commander d. 1712. July 7 Aiyama Tadashige, Japanese daimyo d. 1722. July 9 Emperor Reijin of Japan d. 1732. July 24 Henry Herbert, 1st Baron Herbert of Cherbury, English politician d. 1709. July 25 Agostino Stefani, Italian ecclesiastic, diplomat and composer d. 1728. August 3 Charles I, Landgrave of Hesse-Kassel d. 1730. August 4 Thomas Broderick 1654–1730, Irish politician d. 1730. August 10 Bernard Nieuwentit, Dutch mathematician and philosopher d. 1718. August 15 John Joseph of the Cross, Italian saint d. 1739. August 23 Anthony Maurice I, American politician d. 1721. September 7 Francois Poggi, French Franciscan historian of the Catholic Church d. 1721. September 11 William Hancock 1654–1701, Irish politician d. 1701. September 16 Philip Avril, French Jesuit explorer d. 1698. October 6 Johann Peringskiold, Swedish antiquarian d. 1720. October 18 John Frederick, Margrave of Brandenburg and Spach d. 1686. October 23 Johann Bernhard Stott, Austrian composer d. 1712. October 26 Giovanni Maria Lancisi, Italian physician d. 1720. November 5 Christian Lieb, German composer d. 1708. November 7 Sir John de Laval, 3rd Baronet, English politician d. 1729. November 9 Christoph Wagel the Elder, German engraver d. 1725. November 23 George Watson accountant, a Scottish accountant, and the founder of George Watson's College in Edinburgh d. 1723. November 23 Jan van Kessel the Younger, Flemish painter in Spain d. 1708. November 27 Friedrich von Canitz, German poet and diplomat d. 1699. December 1 John Hartstange, Irish bishop d. 1717. December 10 Giovanni Giosfo dal Sole, Italian painter d. 1719. December 13 Robert Livingston the Elder, New York colonial official d. 1728. December 15 Johann Theodor Jablonski, German lexicographer d. 1731. 1. December 22 Edmond Martin, French Benedictine historian and liturgist d. 1739. December 27 Jacob Bernoulli, Swiss mathematician and scientist d. 1705. December 30 Archduchess Maria Anna Josepha of Austria, youngest surviving daughter of Ferdinand Roman III d. 1689. Probable Eleanor Glanville, English entomologist, died 1709–1655. January 1 Christian Tamaches, German jurist d. 1728. January 5 John Canai Silversmith. January 6 Niccolo Camino Papadopoli, Italian jurist of religious law and historian d. 1740. Eleanor Magdalene of Newburgh, Holy Roman Empress d. 1720. Antonio Molinari, Italian painter d. 1704. January 11 Charles Serjeson, English politician d. 1732. Henry Howard, 7th Duke of Norfolk, England d. 1701, 1. January 13 Bernard de Montfaucon, French Benedictine monk d. 1741. January 19 Nalan Xingde, Chinese poet d. 1685. January 25 Cornelius Ankarstjerna, Dutch-born Swedish admiral d. 1714. January 27 Henry de Nesmond, French churchman d. 1727. February 2 William Tangier Smith, Moroccan mayor d. 1705. February 7 Jean-Francois Rignard, French comic poet d. 1709. February 14 Jacques-Nicolas Colbert, French churchman d. 1707. February 15 August, Duke of Saxe-Merseburg-Zorbig, German prince d. 1715. February 16 Charles, Electoral Prince of Brandenburg, German prince d. 1674. February 25 Karel de Moor, Dutch painter d. 1738. February 28 Johann Beer, Austrian composer d. 1700. March 4 Fra Galgario, Italian painter d. 1743. March 6 Frederick Cragg, Danish nobleman and senior civil servant d. 1728. March 23 Richard Hill of Hawkstone, English statesman d. 1727. Sir Richard Middleton, 3rd Baronet, English politician d. 1716. April 8 Louis William, Margrave of Baden-Baden, Germany d. 1707, 07. April 19 George St. Lo Royal, Navy officer and administrator d. 1718. April 25 John Lowther, 1st Viscount Lonsdale, English politician d. 1700. April 26 Rinaldo d'Este 1655–1737, Duke of Modena d. 1737, T7. Offspring Blackhall, Bishop of Exeter d. 1716. May 4 Bartolomeo Cristofori, Italian maker of musical instruments d. 1731, 31. May 13 Pope Innocent Roman 13 d. 1724. May 31 Jacques Élianner Rauxel de Grancy, Marshal of France d. 1725. June 4 Thomas of Cory, Italian friar minor and preacher d. 1729. June 11 Antonio Safrandi, Italian painter d. 1730. June 12 Ernest, Duke of Saxe-Hildburghausen d. 1715. July 7 Christoph Dientzenhofer, German architect d. 1722. July 24 Grey, 1st Earl of Tankerville, England d. 1701. August 2 Sir John Hotham, 3rd Baronet, English politician d. 1691. August 13 Johann Christoph Denner, German musical instrument maker d. 1707. August 16 Frederick Christian, Count of Schomberg, Lick d. 1728. August 18, James Collett, English-born merchant, who settled in Norway d. 1727. August 22, Joseph Robineau de Villeben, governor of Acadia d. 1700. September 2, Andries Pels, Dutch banker d. 1731. 31, 1, he won. September 9, James Johnston, Secretary of State, diplomat, Secretary of State for Scotland d. 1737, T7. September 12, Sebastian de Brossard, French composer and music theorist d. 1730. September 14, Eleanor Marie du Maine du Berg, French nobleman and general d. 1739. September 21, Roger Cave, English politician d. 1703. September 29, Johann Ferdinand of Auersperg, Duke of Munsterberg d. 1705. September 30, Charles Roman III, Prince of Guienne, French nobleman d. 1727, T7. October 4, Lothar Franz von Schönborn, Archbishop of Mainz d. 1729. October 12, Richard Neville the Younger, English politician d. 1717. October 25, Fabio Brulart de Sillery, French churchman d. 1714. November 1, Ferdinand Kettler, Duke of Kurland and Semigalia d. 1737. November 6, Daniel Lascelles, 1655–1734, English Member of Parliament d. 1734. November 12, Eustache Ristout, French painter d. 1743. Francis Nicholson, British Army General, Colonial Administrator d. 1727. November 16, Alessandro Gherardini, Italian painter d. 1726. November 18, Walter Norborne, English politician d. 1684. November 19, Sir William Robinson, 1st Baronet, British politician d. 1736. November 20, Sir Thomas Grosvenor, 3rd Baronet, English politician d. 1700. November 24, King Charles Roman XI of Sweden d. 1697. December 9, Isaac van Hoornbeek, Grand Pensionary of Holland d. 1727. December 10, Sir William Forrester, British politician d. 1718. December 13, John Evelyn the Younger, English translator d. 1699. December 14, Philip, Landgrave of Hesse-Philippsthal, son of William vid 1721. 21. December 27, Abstrupus Danby, English politician d. 1727. December 28, Charles Cornwallis, 3rd Baron Cornwallis, 1st Lord of the British Admiralty d. 1698. December 29, Louis Watson, 1st Earl of Rockingham, English politician d. 1724. Date unknown. Zumbi, runaway slave in Brazil d. 1695–1656. January 1, William Fleetwood, Anglican bishop d. 1723. January 2, Paolo Panelli, Italian painter d. 1759. January 14, Duchess Johanna Magdalena of Saxe-Altenburg d. 1686. January 15, John Ashburnham, 1st Baron Ashburnham, English politician d. 1710. January 29, Samuel Andrew, American Congregational clergyman, educator d. 1738. February 2, Charles Churchill, British Army General d. 1714. February 9, Rose Venerini, Italian saint, educational pioneer d. 1728. February 10, Ferdinand de Marsan, Marshal of France d. 1706. February 16, Anthony Carey, 5th Viscount of Falkland, English politician d. 1694. March 1, Maria Angela Caterina d'Este, Italian princess d. 1722. March 2, Jan Frans van Deuven, Dutch painter d. 1727. March 11, Duchess Marie Elizabeth of Hesse-Darmstadt d. 1715. March 13, Hachisuka Tsunemichi, Japanese daimyo who ruled the Takashima domain d. 1678. March 26, Nicolaus Hartsoker, Dutch mathematician and physicist d. 1725. March 30 Nicolas de l'Argellier, French painter d. 1746. March 31 Giovanni Battista Bussi, Italian Catholic cardinal d. 1726. March 31 Juan Andrés de Ustariz, royal governor of Cuba d. 1718. April 17 William Molyneux, Irish politician, philosopher and writer d. 1698. April 9 Francesco Trevisani, Italian painter d. 1746. April 10 René Lepage de St. Clair, Lord Founder of Rimouski in eastern Quebec, Canada d. 1718. April 12 Benoit de Maillet, French diplomat and natural historian d. 1738. April 23 Anton Egon, Prince of Fürstenberg-Heiligenberg, Governor of the Electorate of Saxony d. 1716. May 2 Sir Richard Levinge, 1st Baronet, British politician d. 1724. May 4 John Louis I, Prince of Anhalt-Dornberg d. 1704. May 8 Sir John Mainwaring, 2nd Baronet, English Member of Parliament d. 1702. May 23 Rebecca Rawson, Massachusetts heroine of the 1849 book Leaves from Margaret Smith's Journal d. 1692. May 28 Anton Florian, Prince of Liechtenstein d. 1721. May 31 Marin Marois, French composer and viol player d. 1728. June 5 Joseph Pittin de Tournefort, French botanist d. 1708. June 17 Paul Thimich, German poet d. 1694. July 1 Polycarp Lacer Roman III, German Lutheran theologian d. 1725. July 4 John Leake, English Royal Navy Admiral d. 1720. July 5 John Hamilton, 2nd Lord Belhaven and Stenton, Scottish politician d. 1708, 1808, 1808, 1808. July 7 Guru Har Krishan, 8th Guru of Sikhism d. 1664. July 15 Massimiliano Soldani Benzi, Italian artist d. 1740. 1840. July 15 Gerard Langbaine, English dramatic biographer and critic d. 1692. July 16 George Ashby MP, British politician d. 1728. July 18 Joachim Bouvet, French Jesuit active in China d. 1730. 1830. July 20 Johann Bernhard Pfister von Erlach, Austrian architect d. 1723. August 6 Claude Forbin, French naval commander d. 1733. August 12 Claude de Vistalou, French missionary d. 1737. August 16 Christian Naut, German physician d. 1716. August 18 Ferdinando Galli by Vienna, Italian painter d. 1743. September 6 Guillaume Dubois, French cardinal and statesman d. 1723. September 7 Robert Molesworth, 1st Viscount Molesworth, Irish politician d. 1725. September 9 Johann Caspar Ferdinand Pfister, German organist and composer d. 1746. September 9 Thomas Hewitt, English landowner and architect d. 1726. September 11 Ulrika Eleonora of Denmark. September 14 Thomas Baker, English antiquarian d. 1740. 1840, 1840, 1840, 1840, 1840. September 26 William des Bouverie, British aristocrat and merchant d. 1717. October 2 Hendrik Carr, Dutch painter d. 1721. October 20 Nicolas de l'Argellier, French painter d. 1746. November 3 Georg Mutter, German composer and organist d. 1738. November 8 Edmund Halley, English scientist d. 1742. November 18 Jacques de Tourelle, French lawyer d. 1714. November 20 Eleonore Charlotte of Württemberg, Montbéliard, Duchess d. 1743. November 23 Jacob de Huche, Dutch painter d. 1701. December 2 Joshua Oldfield, English Presbyterian divine d. 1729. December 11 Johann Michael Rothmayer, Austrian painter d. 1730. Date unknown. Patrick Abercrombie, Scottish physician and antiquarian d.c. 1716. Maria Oriana Galli Bibbiena, Italian painter d. 1749. Kateri Tekakwitha, Native American beatified in the Roman Catholic Church d. 1680–1657. January 1 Charles Fitz-Charles, 1st Earl of Plymouth, illegitimate son of King Charles Roman II d. 1680. January 4 Sebastian Rail, French missionary d. 1724. January 6 William Bowes, English politician d. 1707. January 11 Elizabeth van der Woud, Dutch writer d. 1694. January 17 Pieter van Bloemen, Flemish painter d. 1720. January 18 Henry Casimir Roman II, Prince of Nassau-Dietz, stadtholder of Friesland and Groningen d. 1696. January 21 Francesco Cupani, Italian naturalist d. 1710. January 26 William Wake, Archbishop of Canterbury d. 1737. January 29 Francis Moore, astrologer, British physician and astrologer d. 1715. February 10 George Carpenter, 1st Baron Carpenter, British Army General d. 1731. February 11 Bernard Lebouvier de Fontenelle, French scientist and man of letters d. 1757. February 21 Blaise Gisbert, French Jesuit rhetorician and critic d. 1731. February 24 Clopton Havers, English physician d. 1702. February 25 Agave de Saint-Pierre, French-Canadian business entrepreneur and inventor d. 1748. March 1 Samuel Wernfels, Swiss theologian d. 1740. T. 40. March 6 August Magdalene of Hessen-Darmstadt, German noblewoman and poet d. 1674. March 18 Giuseppe Ottavio Pittoni, Italian composer d. 1743. March 19 Jean Leclerc, theologian, Swiss theologian and biblical scholar d. 1736. March 20 Luigi Amodi 1607–1685, Italian Catholic cardinal d. 1706. March 24 Arai Hakuseki, Japanese politician and writer d. 1725. April 16 Thomas Fairfax, 5th Lord Fairfax of Cameron, English politician d. 1710. April 16 Otto Friedrich von der Groben, Prussian traveler, soldier and author d. 1728. May 8 Martino Altamont, Italian painter d. 1745. May 14 Sam Hadji, Maratha ruler d. 1689. May 25 Henry Pons de Thiers de Bissy, French Catholic priest, bishop and cardinal d. 1737. June 10 James Craggs the Elder, English politician d. 1721. June 14 Sir William Blackett, 1st Baronet of Newcastle upon Tyne, English politician d. 1705. June 17 Louis Elis Dupin, French ecclesiastical historian d. 1719. July 8 Abraham de Peyster, New Amsterdam/New York politician d. 1728. July 11 King Frederick I of Prussia d. 1713. July 12 Friedrich Wilhelm Roman III, Duke of Saxe-Altenburg d. 1672. July 14 William Cheyne, 2nd Viscount New Haven, English politician d. 1728. July 18 Simon Digby, 4th Baron Digby, English politician d. 1686. July 24 Theodorus Jansonius van Almelavigne, Dutch classical scholar d. 1712. July 24 Jean Matthew de Chazelles, French hydrographer d. 1710. July 25 Philip Heinrich Erlebach, German composer d. 1714. August 7 Henry Basnage de Beauvais, French historian, lexicographer d. 1710. August 9 Pierre Etienne Monod, French artist d. 1733. August 18 Ferdinando Galli by Vienna, Italian architect and painter d. 1743. August 18 Antonio Margil, Spanish Franciscan missionary in North and Central America d. 1726. September 14 Sir Charles Blois, 1st Baronet, English politician d. 1738. September 17 Pieter Schuyler, British colonial military leader, acting governor of New York d. 1724. September 17 Dudley Cullum, English politician and baronet d. 1720. September 21 Sultan Mohammed Akbar, Mughal prince d. 1706. September 27 Sophia Alexeyevna of Russia. September 29 Heinrich of Saxe-Weissenfels, Count of Barbie, German prince d. 1728. October 2 Guillaume Baudry, gunsmith and gold and silversmith in Lower Canada d. 1732. October 4 Francisco Solimena, Italian painter d. 1747. October 8 Widris Vitringa, Dutch painter d. 1725. October 26 Philip, Duke of Saxe-Merseburg-Lothstadt, German nobleman d. 1690. November 6 Joseph Denys, Canadian Recollet priest d. 1736. November 12 Anna Dorothea, Abbess of Quedlinburg d. 1704. November 16 Julian Louise of East Frisia, Princess of East Frisia d. 1715. November 26 Michael Bernhard Valentini, German naturalist d. 1729. November 26 William Durham, English minister and writer d. 1735. November 28 Philip Prospero, Prince of Asturias, heir apparent to the Spanish throne d. 1661. December 2 France Anton, Count of Hohenzollern-Haigerloch d. 1702. December 8 Changning, Prince during the Qing dynasty d. 1703. December 14 Edmund Dunch Whig, English politician d. 1719. December 15 Louis Thomas, Count of Soissons, and Prince of Savoy d. 1702. December 15 Mitchell Richard de Lalande, French composer d. 1726. December 23 Josiah Franklin, English-born American businessman, father of Benjamin Franklin d. 1745. December 23 Hannah Dustin, Massachusetts Puritan mother of 8, taken captive during King William's War d. 1736. December 28 Domenico Rossi, Swiss-Italian architect d. 1737–1658. January 9 Nicolas Caustu, French artist d. 1733. January 17 Samson Wertheimer, European rabbi d. 1724. January 17 Francis Seymour, 5th Duke of Somerset d. 1678. February 18 Charles Irony Castel de Saint-Pierre, French writer d. 1743. March 5 Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac, French explorer d. 1730. March 8 Thomas Trevor, 1st Baron Trevor, British Baron d. 1730. March 23 Jean-Baptiste Santerre, French painter d. 1717. March 30 Muro Cuso, Japanese Neo-Confucian scholar d. 1734. April 11 James Hamilton, 4th Duke of Hamilton, Scottish peer d. 1712. April 19 Johann Wilhelm, Elector Palatine, German noble d. 1716. April 22 Giuseppe Torli, Italian violinist, pedagogue, and composer d. 1709. May 30 Sir Henry Furnies, 1st Baronet, English merchant and politician d. 1712. June 10 John March, Massachusetts businessman, Colonel d. 1712. June 11 Victor Honor Janssens, Flemish painter d. 1736. June 22 Louis Roman VII, Landgrave of Hesse-Darmstadt d. 1678. July 10 Luigi Ferdinando Marsili, Italian soldier and naturalist d. 1730. July 14 Camillo Rusconi, Italian artist d. 1728. July 17 Diogo de Mendonça Corte Real, Portuguese politician d. 1736. July 21 Alexis Litter, French physician and anatomist d. 1726. July 25 Archibald Campbell, 1st Duke of Argyll, Scottish Privy Councillor d. 1703. July 28 Roloff Diodati, Dutch Governor of Mauritius d. 1723. August 1 Pierre Joseph Gardel, French botanist d. 1737. T7. August 5 Claude Audran Roman III, French painter d. 1734. 34. August 10 Suzanne Maria von Sandrart, German engraver d. 1716. August 11 Sir Justinian Isham, 4th Baronet, English baronet and member of Parliament d. 1730. He 30. August 16 Jan Frans van Son, Flemish Baroque painter d. 1704. August 16 Ralph Thoresby, British historian d. 1725. August 18 Jan František Bekovsky, Czech historian d. 1722. August 22 John Ernest Roman IV, Duke of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld d. 1729. August 28 Honor Tournely, French theologian d. 1729. September 1 Jacques Bernard, French theologian and publicist d. 1718. September 16 John Dennis, English dramatist and critic d. 1734. September 24 Sir Robert Anstruther, 1st Baronet, Scottish politician d. 1737. September 30 Elizabeth Ilion Moore of Brunswick-Wolfenbüttel, Duchess consort of Saxe-Meiningen d. 1729. October 2 Nicholas Roosevelt 1658–1742, Dutch-American politician d. 1742. October 5 Mary of Modena, Queen of James Roman II of England d. 1718. October 11 Christian Heinrich Postel, German jurist d. 1705. October 18 Alexander of Kurland, German prince d. 1686. October 19 Adolphus Frederick Roman II, Duke of Mecklenburg-Strelitz d. 1704. October 21 Henry de Blainvilliers, French nobleman d. 1722. October 24 Marco Gerbeck, carnial and physician, scientist d. 1718. November 2 Baptist Noel MP, English politician d. 1690. November 4 Sultan Saba Orbilyani, Georgian prince, writer, monk, and author d. 1725. November 21 Johann Gottfried Rosner, Prussian burgomaster d. 1724. November 27 Tsarevna Catherine Alexeyevna of Russia, daughter of Tsar Alexis of Russia d. 1718. November 27 Hercule Louis Turinti, Marquis of Prague d. 1726. December 2 Sir Thomas Roberts, 4th Baronet, English politician d. 1706. December 10 Lancelot Blackburn, Archbishop of York d. 1743. Date unknown Elizabeth Barry, English actress d. 1713–1659. January 1 Margaret Wemyss, 3rd Countess of Wemyss, Scottish noble d. 1705. January 4 James Pierpont, Connecticut Congregationalist minister, a founder of Yale University d. 1714. January 11 Ambrose Brown, English politician d. 1688. January 13 Johann Arnold Neuring, German architect d. 1695. January 17 Takatsukasa Kanehiro, Japanese court noble of the Edo period d. 1725. Antonio Veracini, Italian composer d. 1745. January 18 Damaris Cudworth Masham, English philosopher d. 1708. January 21 Adrien van der Werf, Dutch painter d. 1722. January 28 Sir Samuel Barnardiston, 2nd Baronet, English politician d. 1709. February 1 Jacob Roggeveen, Dutch Pacific Ocean explorer d. 1729. February 14 Theodore Eustace, Count Palatine of Sulzbach d. 1732. February 27 William Sherard, English botanist d. 1728. March 4 Pierre Lepotter 1659–1744, French sculptor d. 1744. March 6 Salomon Frank, German lawyer, scientist and poet d. 1725. March 8 Isaac de Beausober, French Protestant pastor d. 1738. March 25 John Eskill, Irish politician d. 1738. March 26 William Wollaston, English philosopher d. 1724. April 8 Christopher Tancred, English politician d. 1705. April 14 Albrecht of Saxe-Weissenfels, German prince d. 1692. William de Laune, English academic administrator and clergyman d. 1728. April 15 Adam Ludwig Leuwenhaupt, Swedish general d. 1719. April 16 Jacques Lemoyne de Saint-Helene, Canadian soldier d. 1690. April 29 Sophie Elisabeth Brenner, Swedish writer d. 1730. Date Tsunamura, Japanese daimyo at the center of the Date Soto d. 1719. May 4 John Dunton, English bookseller and author d. 1733. June 3 David Gregory, Scottish mathematician and astronomer d. 1708. June 5 Wolfgang George Frederick von Pfalz-Neuburg, German bishop d. 1683. June 7 Henry Thompson 1659–1700, English politician and landowner d. 1700. June 11 Yamamoto Tsunetomo, Japanese samurai d. 1719. June 15 Claude de Ramsay, Canadian politician d. 1724. June 22 Simon Pierre Denys de Bonaventure, French officer and governor of Acadia d. 1711. June 26 Sir John Brownlow, 3rd Baronet, English politician d. 1697. July 3 Franz Beer, Austrian architect d. 1726. July 6 Albert Wolfgang, Count of Hohenlohe-Langenburg d. 1715. July 8 Justice van Huysum, Dutch painter d. 1716. July 14 John Hutton 1659–1731, English politician d. 1731. July 16 N. Wharton, English poet d. 1685. July 18 Hyacinthe Rigaud, French painter d. 1743. July 22 Nodiah Russell, American colonial clergyman, a founder of Yale University d. 1713. July 28 Asano Tsunanaga, Japanese daimyo, ruler of the Hiroshima domain d. 1708. Charles Anselin, French Protestant pastor d. 1715. August 1 Sebastiano Rixai, Italian painter d. 1734. August 2 Andrew Archer, English politician d. 1741. 1. August 17 Robert Chow, French colonialist d. 1721. 1721. August 20 Henry Every, English pirate d. after 1696. September 1 Domenico Egidio Rossi, Italian architect d. 1715. September 5 Mitchell Sarrazin, Canadian scientist d. 1734. September 10 Henry Purcell, English composer d. 1695. September 12 Bertwelv Thurkmaz, Dutch painter d. 1717. Ferdinand Willem, Duke of Württemberg-Neuenstadt, Dutch general and noble d. 1701. September 13 Claude Hamilton, 4th Earl of Abercorn, Scottish and Irish peer K, in action 1691. September 18 Caleb Banks, English politician d. 1696. October 13 George Verney, 12th Baron Willoughby de Broke, English peer and clergyman d. 1728. October 22 Georg Ernst Stoll, German chemist d. 1734. October 28, Nicholas Brady, poet, English poet and Anglican clergyman d. 1726. November 3, Huey Bin Jang, Korean royal consort d. 1701. November 10, Albert Borgard, Danish artillery and engineer officer d. 1751. November 19, Jacques-Louis de Vallon, French poet d. 1719. December 2, John Brereton, 4th Baron Brereton, Irish peer d. 1718. December 12, Francisco Galli Bibbiena, Italian architect/designer d. 1739. December 18, Matthew Petit Didier, French Benedictine theologian d. 1728. December 28, Francois Catrou, French historian and Jesuit priest d. 1737. T7. Deaths 1650. January 7, Louis I, Prince of Anhalt-Köthen, German Prince b. 1579. January 18, Matteo Rosselli, Italian painter b. 1578. January 23, Philip Herbert, 4th Earl of Pembroke b. 1584. February 11, René Descartes, French philosopher b. 1596. Adrien van Giesbeek, Dutch painter of genre subjects and portraits b. 1621. 1621. February 26, Claude Favre de Vaugelas, Savoyard grammarian and man of letters b. 1585. March 8, Antonio Tornielli, Italian Catholic prelate b. 1579. March 11, John Henderson, 5th of Fordell, Scottish noble b. 1605. March 16, Sophie Elizabeth of Brandenburg, Duchess consort of Saxe-Altenburg b. 1616. March 25, Elizabeth of Brunswick-Wolfenbüttel, Duchess of Saxe-Altenburg b. 1593. John Williams, Welsh clergyman and political adviser to King James I b. 1582. April 3, Christian Gaines, German teacher and writer grammarian b. 1592. April 18, Simmons Hughes, English antiquarian and politician b. 1602. April 21, Yaji Jubei Mitsuyoshi, Japanese samurai b. 1607. April 22, Stephanius, Danish historian b. 1599. May 7, Kano Naonabu, Japanese painter of the Kano School of Painting b. 1607. May 21, James Graham, 1st Marquess of Montrose, Scottish royalist b. 1612. May 20, Francesco Sacrati, Italian composer b. 1605. May 25, Mitchell Particelli Demery, French politician b. 1596. May 28, Agnes of Hesse Castle, Princess Consort of Anhalt-Dessau b. 1606. June 8, Maximilian von Unzu Trottmannstorff, Austrian diplomat b. 1584. June 18, Christoph Scheiner, German astronomer b. 1573 or 1575. June 19, Matthaus Merian, Swiss engraver b. 1593. Simon Philip, Count of Lip Ditmold 1636-1650 b. 1632. June 26, Hedwig of Brunswick-Wolfenbüttel, Duchess consort of Pomerania b. 1595. June 28, Jean Rotrou, French poet and tragedian b. 1609. June 30, Niccolo Cabio, Italian Jesuit writer, theologian b. 1586. July 2, Marion Delorme, French courtesan known for her relationships with the important men of her time b. 1613. July 16, Margaretha van Valkenburch, Dutch shipowner, only female member of the VOC b. 1565. July 18, Robert Levens, English royalist, hanged in London by parliamentary forces as a spy b. 1615. August, John Parkinson, English herbalist and botanist b. 1567. August 16, Cesare Monti, Italian cardinal, Archbishop of Milan b. 1593. September 7, Sauveur de Saint-Marthe, French historian b. 1571. September 8, Elizabeth Stuart, second daughter of King Charles I of England b. 1635. September 13, Ferdinand of Bavaria b. 1577. September 14, Josias von Rantzau, Marshal of France b. 1609. September 24, Charles de Valois, Duke of Angoulême, son of Charles Roman IX of France b. 1573. October 25, Franciscus Quirinius, Italian writer and Orientalist b. 1583. October 29, David Calderwood, Scottish historian b. 1575. November 6, William Roman II, Prince of Orange b. 1626. November 24, Manuel Cardoso, Portuguese composer b. 1566. December 13, Bapt. Phineas Fletcher, English poet b. 1582. December 31, Dorgan, Manchu Prince b. 1612. Date unknown, Catalina de Eraso, Spanish-Mexican nun and soldier b. 1592. Kosai Bey, Ottoman man of letters, Magdalena Andersdotter, Norwegian Faroes Chipowner b. 1590. Theophilus Ch. Mileko, Polish military wife b. 1590–1651. January, Thomas Green, colonial governor of Maryland b. 1609, 09, 09, 09, 09, 09, 09, 09, 09. January 22, Johannes Fossilides Holwerda, Dutch astronomer b. 1618. January 29, Diego de Colmenares, Spanish historian b. 1586. February 6, Erdmann August of Brandenburg Bayreuth, hereditary Margrave b. 1615. February 8, Richard Newport, 1st Baron Newport, English politician b. 1587. February 9, Herman Krefting, Norwegian businessman b. 1592. March 11, Alvise Contarini, Italian diplomat, nobleman b. 1597. April 1, John of Hesse-Braubach, German general b. 1609. April 7, Lennart Torstensson, Swedish field marshal, privy councillor and governor-general b. 1603. April 10, Sir William Ermine, 1st Baronet, English politician b. 1593. May 16, Sophie of Solms-Laubach, wife of Joachim Ernst, Margrave of Brandenburg and Spach b. 1594. May 26, Jean Gardiner, British woman executed for witchcraft in Bermuda. May 28, Henry Grey, 10th Earl of Kent b. 1594. June 8, Tokugawa Iemitsu, Japanese shogun b. 1604. June 16, Francisco Cuervo y Valls, Spanish colonial governor d. 1714. June 17, Roger North, English politician b. 1577. Francesco Piccolomini, Italian Jesuit b. 1582. July 7, Dina Vinhofvers, Danish alleged conspirator b. 1620. August 1, Maria Anna Vaso, Polish princess b. 1650. August 2, Ercole, Marquis of Baux, member of the House of Grimaldi b. 1623. August 8, Countess Amalie Elizabeth of Hanau-Munzenberg, regent of Hesse-Kassel d. 1602. August 16, Filippo Benedetto di Cio, Italian Catholic prelate and bishop b. 1585. August 20, Jeremy Wisniewski, Polish nobleman b. 1612. September 3, Kosum Sultan, regent of the Ottoman Empire b.c. 1590. William Widrington, 1st Baron Widrington, English landowner, politician b. 1610. September 10, Ueshotsu b. 1605, Japanese rebel. September 12, Bertwelve, Felix Castillo, Spanish artist b. 1595. William Hamilton, 2nd Duke of Hamilton, Scottish nobleman b. 1616. September 18, Henriette Marie of the Palatinate, German noble b. 1626. September 24, Etienne Pascal, French mathematician b. 1588. Marubashi Chuya, Japanese rebel. September 27, Maximilian I, Elector of Bavaria b. 1573. October 4 Ludwig Camerarius, German politician b. 1573. October 6 Heinrich Albert, German composer and poet b. 1604. October 7 Jacques Sermond, French Jesuit scholar b. 1559. October 8 Isaac Elsevier, Dutch printer and publisher b. 1596. Anna Catherine Constance Wasa, Polish princess, daughter of King Sigismund Roman III Wasa b. 1619. October 10 Philippus Rovnius, Dutch priest b. 1573. October 15 James Stanley, 7th Earl of Derby b. 1607. October 25 Saint Job of Pachaev, Ukrainian Orthodox Christian saint b. 1551. November 20 Mikolaj Pataki, Polish soldier b. 1595. November 22 Francis Scott, 2nd Earl of Buccleuch, son of Walter Scott b. 1626. November 26 Henry Ireton, English Civil War leader b. 1611. December 14 Pierre Dupuy, French scholar b. 1582. December 15 Virginia Centurioni Bracely, Italian saint b. 1587. November 18 Anna Amalia of Baden-Durlach, regent of Nassau-Saarbrücken b. 1595. December 18 William Brabazon, 1st Earl of Meath b. 1580. Date unknown. Eva Bacharach, Bohemian Hebraist b. 1580. He 1580. Julia Mangiardi, Italian poisoner b. 1581. Angelique Paulet, French salonier, singer, musician, and actress b. 1592. Helena C. Zaplinska, Ukrainian hetmana 1652. January 19 Vilum Slavato, of Klum, Czech nobleman b. 1572. January 30 Georges de Latour, French Baroque painter b. 1593. February 7 Gregorio Allegri, Italian composer b. 1582. February 28 Arcangela Terabati, Venetian nun and feminist b. 1604. March 12 Aloysius Gottfriedi, Italian Jesuit b. 1595. March 17 Benjamin Bramer, German mathematician b. 1588. April 13 Georges Fournier, French Jesuit mathematician and geographer b. 1595. April 17 Henry Howard, 22nd Earl of Arundel, English politician b. 1608. April 19 Jesper Brochmand, Danish bishop b. 1585. April 21 Pietro della Val, Italian traveller b. 1586. April 26 Jean-Pierre Camus, French Catholic bishop b. 1584. May 11 Burr Evenment, Dutch culture personality b. 1606. May 10 Jacques Buteux, French missionary b. 1600. Jacques Nampart de Caumont, Duc de la Force, Marshal of France b. 1558. June 3 Marek Sobieski, Polish noble Esi Latzik b. 1628. June 9 Anna Sophia van Holt, German noblewoman b. 1584. Jean Dalbo, French missionary b. 1586. June 18 John Casimir, Count Palatine of Kleeberg, son of John I b. 1589. June 21 Inigo Jones, English architect b. 1573. June 25 Abraham von Frankenberg, German writer b. 1593. July 14 Otto Huenius, Dutch physician and philosopher b. 1577. July 23 Johannes Chrysostomus van der Staer, Dutch abbot, ecclesiastical writer b. 1591. July 25 Bonaventura Peters the Elder, Flemish marine painter b. 1614. July 30 Charles Amadius, Duke of Nemours b. 1624. August 9 Frederick Maurice de la Tour d'Auvergne, Prince of the Independent Principality of Sedan b. 1605. August 10 Jean Gaston, Duke of Valois b. 1650. August 14 Abraham Elsevier, Dutch printer b. 1592. August 18 Florimond de Beaune, French mathematician and jurist b. 1601 August 22 Jacob de Lagarde, Swedish soldier and statesman b. 1583. August 23 John Byron, 1st Baron Byron, English royalist politician b. 1600. September 2 Giuseppe de Ribera, Spanish tenebrist painter and printmaker b. 1591. September 6 Philip Allegambe, Belgian Jesuit priest and bibliographer b. 1592. September 7 Patrick Young, Scottish librarian b. 1584. September 16 Giulio Roma, Italian Catholic cardinal b. 1584. September 17 Sumitomo Masatomo b. 1585. October 8 John Greaves, English mathematician and antiquarian b. 1602. October 11 Leon Boutillier, Comte de Chavigny, French politician b. 1608. October 20 Antonio Silo, Spanish writer b. 1611. October 27 Henry Roman II, Count of Nassau-Siegen b. 1611. November 4 Jean-Charles de la Fayelle, Belgian mathematician b. 1597. November 11 John Bridgeman, British bishop b. 1577. November 21 Jan Brozak, Polish mathematician, physician, and astronomer b. 1585. December 11 Denis Patel, French theologian and historian b. 1583. December 23 John Cotton, founder of Boston, Massachusetts b. 1585. Date unknown. Johannes Gijsjes, Dutch historian b. circa 1583. Prince Louar Sab of Kartli, heir apparent to the throne of the Kingdom of Kartli 1653. January 14 George Rudolph of Liegnitz, Polish noble b. 1595. January 21 John Digby, 1st Earl of Bristol, English diplomat b. 1580. February 13 Georg Rudolf Weckerlin, German poet b. 1584. February 16 Johannes Schultz, German composer b. 1582. February 20 Luigi Rossi, Italian composer b. 1597. February 21 Adriaan Paul, Grand Pensionary of Holland b. 1585. February 27 Diego Lopez Pacheco, 7th Duke of Escalona, Spanish noble b. 1599. March 6 Juan de Castillo, Spanish theologian b. 1584. March 23 Johan van Galen, Dutch naval officer b. 1604. May 13 Teodosio, Prince of Brazil, Portuguese prince b. 1634. May 26 Robert Filmer, English writer b. 1588. March 10 Count John Louis of Nassau-Hadamar b. 1590. March 25 Nicholas Martin, English politician b. 1593. March 30 Mikołaj Lexicki, Polish Jesuit b. 1574. April 20 Celestin Myslentu, Polish theologian b. 1588. April 26 Matthias Faber, German Jesuit priest and writer b. 1586. May 11 Petronio Veroni, Roman Catholic prelate, Bishop of Boino 1652–1653 b. 1600. May 19 Elizabeth Lucretia, Duchess of Seesin, Duchess sua jure of Seesin b. 1599. June 5 Federico Baldissera Bartolomeo Cornaro, Italian Catholic cardinal b. 1579. June 26 Juliana Morel, Spanish-French scholar b. 1594. July 10 Gabriel Naud, French librarian and scholar b. 1600. July 31 Thomas Dudley, governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony b. 1576. August 10 Martin Tromp, Dutch admiral b. 1598. August 22 Augustus, Prince of Anhalt-Plötzkau, German prince b. 1575. September 3 Claudius Salmasius, French classical scholar b. 1588. September 14 Wolfgang Wilhelm, Count Palatine of Neuburg, Duke of Jülich and Berg b. 1578. September 26 Charles de l'Aubespine, Marquis de Chateauneuf, French diplomat and government official b. 1580. October 3 Marcus Zwarius van Boxhorn, Dutch scholar b. 1612. October 7 Fausto Poli, Italian Catholic prelate and cardinal b. 1581. October 22 Thomas de Critz, British artist b. 1607. October 25 Gustav, Count of Vasseborg, illegitimate son of King Gustavus Adolphus, and his mistress Margareta Slots b. 1616. November 17 Joanna, Princess of Beira, Portuguese infant to Princess b. 1635. December 7 Ludwig Crotius, German Calvinist minister b. 1586. December 21 Elizabeth of Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg, Duchess Consort of Pomerania b. 1580. E. 1580. E. 1580. E. 1580. E. 1580. December 28 Giovanni Battista Rinuccini, Archbishop of Fermo b. 1592. Date unknown. Lucrezia Marinella, Italian poet and author b. 1571. Giuseppa Vega, Spanish stage actress b. 1589. Constantia Zierenberg, German-Polish singer b. 1605–1654. January 10 Nicholas Culpeper, English botanist b. 1616. January 17 Paulus Potter, Dutch painter b. 1625. February 6 Francesco Maccia, Italian early Baroque sculptor b. 1580. February 8 Luca Ferrari, Italian painter b. 1605. February 18 Jean-Louis Guez de Balzac, French writer b. 1594. March 7 Ernest Gottlieb, Prince of Anhalt-Plotskow b. 1620. March 14 Jan van Balen, Flemish painter b. 1611. March 15 Jean Guiton, French Huguenot ship owner b. 1585. March 19 Matsudaira Norinaga, Japanese daimyo b. 1600. March 22 Theodore de Mayerne, Swiss physician b. 1573. March 24 Samuel Schate, German composer b. 1587. March 30 Alexander Ludwig Radziwill, Polish noble b. 1594. April 5 Jacobus Trigland, Dutch theologian b. 1583. May 18 Mohammed Kadiri, Punjabi founder of the Naushaya branch of the Kadri order b. 1552. May 21 Elizabeth Poole, English settler in Plymouth Colony b. 1588. May 31 Hippolytus Garinonius, Italian physician and polymath b. 1571. June 10 Alessandro Algardi, Italian sculptor and architect b. 1598. June 14 Daniel Esterhazy, Hungarian noble b. 1585. June 27 Johannes Valentinus Andrii, German theologian b. 1586. July 9 Ferdinand Roman IV, King of the Romans b. 1633. July 23 Orazio Grassi, Italian Jesuit priest, architect and scientist b. 1583. August 12 Cornelius Haga, Dutch diplomat b. 1578. August 19 Jan Tov Lipman Heller, Bohemian rabbi and liturgical poet b. 1579. August 28 Axel Oxenstierna, Lord High Chancellor of Sweden since 1612 b. 1583. August 29 Wouter van Twiller, Director General of New Netherland from 1633 until 1638 b. 1606. August 31 Ole Worm, Danish physician and antiquary b. 1588. September 6 Christian I, Count Palatine of Birkenfeld by Schwaler 1600–1654 b. 1598. September 8 Peter Kleber, Spanish Jesuit priest b. 1580. September 27 Louis, Duke of Joyeuse, younger son of Charles b. 1622. September 29 George John Roman II, Count Palatine of Lutzelstein-Guttenberg b. 1586. October 12 Karel Fabricius, Dutch artist b. 1622. October 16 Hercule, Duke of Montbazon b. 1568. October 20 Sir Thomas Jervois, English politician b. 1587. October 30 Emperor Go-Kamio of Japan b. 1633. November 27 Pieter Mulener, Flemish baroque painter b. 1602. November 26 Giambattista Altieri, Italian Catholic cardinal b. 1589. November 30 John Selden, English jurist b. 1584. William Hebington, English poet b. 1605. December 1 Jack of Michelja, Italian linguist and lexicographer b. 1601. No 1. December 4 Sir Christopher Yelverton, 1st Baronet, English politician b. 1602. December 5 Jean-François Sarrazin, French writer. Date unknown Elizabeth Isham, English diarist b. 1609–1655. January 6 Louis Philippe, Count Palatine of Simmern-Kaiserslautern, Prince of Palatinate b. 1602. January 7 Pope Innocent XB 1574. February 15 Pier Luigi Caraffa, Italian Catholic cardinal b. 1581. February 21 John X of Schleswig-Holstein-Gottorp, Prince Bishop of Lubeck 1634–1655 b. 1606. February 25 Daniel Heinsius, Flemish scholar b. 1580. February 27 Francesco Malin, Doge of Venice b. 1575. March 28 Maria Eleonora of Brandenburg, German princess and queen consort of Sweden b. 1599. March 30 James Stuart, 1st Duke of Richmond b. 1612. April 6 David Blondel, French Protestant clergyman b. 1591. April 14 Johann Erasmus Kindermann, German composer and organist b. 1616. April 29 Cornelis Schutt, Flemish painter, draftsman, and engraver b. 1597. April 30 Eustache Le Sueur, French painter b. 1617. May 5 Richard Harrison, English politician b. 1583. May 8 Edward Winslow, American Pilgrim leader b. 1596. May 30 Christian, Margrave of Brandenburg Bay Youth b. 1581. June 26 Margaret of Savoy, Vicereine of Portugal b. 1589. June 27 Eleonora Gonzaga, Holy Roman Empress, married to Ferdinand Roman II, Holy Roman Emperor b. 1598. June 30 Jacobus Boonen, Dutch Catholic Archbishop b. 1573. July 15 Girolamo Rainaldi, Italian architect b. 1570. July 28 Cyrano de Bergerac, French soldier and writer b. 1619. Suzuki Shasen, Japanese samurai b. 1579. July 30 Sigmund Theophil Staden, important early German composer b. 1607. August 10 Alfonso de la Cuva, 1st Marquis of Bedmer, Spanish cardinal and diplomat b. 1572. Wu 22. September 7 Francois Tristan Elhermite, French dramatist b. 1601. September 24 Frederick, Landgrave of Hesse-Eschwege b. 1617. October 13 Toby Matthew, English Member of Parliament b. 1577 D7. October 14 Arnold Mahler, German calligrapher b. 1581. October 16 Joseph Solomon del Medigo, Italian physician, mathematician and music theorist b. 1591. October 18 Joachim Lutkemann, German theologian b. 1608. October 24 Pierre Gassendi, French philosopher, mathematician, and scientist b. 1592. November 6 Maximilian, Prince of Dieterstein, German prince b. 1596. November 16 Giuseppe Marcino, Italian priest, member of the Order of Friars Minor b. 1589. November 23 Elizabeth Wriothesley, Countess of Southampton b. 1572. November 28 John Oglander, English politicians b. 1585. December 17, Yukita Heidi, Japanese daimyo, b. 1573. December 20, Gregers Crabbe, Danish noble, b. 1594. December 22, Tsugaru Nabayoshi, Japanese daimyo, b. 1619. December 31, Sir John Ray, 2nd Baronet, English politician, b. 1586. Date unknown. Cockbarma Fall, Senegambian philosopher, b. 1586–1656. January 3, Matthew Mole, French statesman, b. 1584. January 18, Augustus, Duke of Saxe-Lauenburg, German noble, b. 1577–7. January 22, Thomas Francis, Prince of Carignano, b. 1596. February 13, Ferdinando Hastings, 6th Earl of Huntingdon, English politician, b. 1609. February 25, Henriette Catherine de Joyeuse, Duke of Joyeuse, b. 1585. March 21, James Ussher, Archbishop of Armagh and Primate of all Ireland, b. 1581. March 19, George Calixtus, German Lutheran theologian who looked to reconcile all Christendom, b. 1586. April 7, K. Arzystow Arcysiewski, Polish-Lithuanian noble, b. 1592. April 10, Gerard Pieters Hulft, Dutch general, b. 1621. April 24, Thomas Fink, Danish mathematician and physicist, b. 1561. April 27, Jan van Goyen, Dutch painter, b. 1596. Gerard van Honthorst, Dutch painter, b. 1592. May 1, Carlo Contarini, Doge of Venice, b. 1580, d. 1580, 1880, d. 1580, d. 1580, 1880, 1880, d. 1580. May 17, Dirk Hals, Dutch painter, b. 1591. May 19, George Louis, Prince of Nassau-Dillenburg, German noble, b. 1618. June 5, Francesco Cornaro, Doge of Venice, b. 1585. June 9, Thomas Tomkins, Welsh composer, b. 1572. June 12, Charles Worsley, English soldier and politician, b. 1622. June 21, Maximilian van der Sant, Dutch theologian, b. 1578. July 2, Francois Marie, Comte de Broglie, Italian-born French commander, b. 1611, 1111. July 12, Giovanni Giacomo Barbelli, Italian painter, b. 1604. August 8, Bras Garcia de Mascarenhas, soldier, poet and writer, b. 1596. August 11, Ottavio Piccolomini, Austrian-Italian field marshal, b. 1599. August 17, Marie and d'Orleans, French princess, b. 1652. August 24, Egidius Gellinis, German heraldist, b. 1595. September 8, Joseph Hall, English bishop and writer, b. 1574. September 22, Christian Roman II, Prince of Anhalt-Bernburg, 1630–1656, b. 1599. October, Stephen Backaler, English clergyman, B.C. 1561. October 3, Miles Standish, Mayflower colonist, B.C. 1584. October 8, John George I, Elector of Saxony, b. 1585. October 12, Ober 12, Ver 12, Ver 12, Ober 12. Juan Alonso y Aachen, Spanish Catholic prelate, Archbishop of La Plata o Charcas, b. 1597. Juan Tellez Giron y Enriquez de Ribera, 4th Duke of Osuna, b. 1597, T7. October 30, Ferruccio Baffatrasci, Italian bishop, b. 1590. November 6, King John Roman IV of Portugal, b. 1603. Jean-Baptiste Morin, French mathematician, b. 1583. November 12, Albrecht Stanislaw Radziwill, Polish nobleman, b. 1595. Hendrik van Antonissen, Dutch painter, b. 1605. December 2, Alessandro d'Alvaro, Austrian field marshal, b. 1600. December 20, David Beck, Dutch portrait painter b. 1621. December 21 Thomas Trevor, English politician and judge b. 1586. December 27 Andrew White, Apostle of Maryland b. 1579. December 28 Laurent de la Hire, French Baroque painter b. 1606. Date unknown Meleki Hatun, influential Ottoman lady-in-waiting 1657. January 24 Claude, Duke of Chevreuse b. 1578. February 2 Nicole, Duchess of Lorraine, French noble b. 1608. February 7 Cesare Dandini, Italian painter b. 1596. February 8 Laura Mancini, French court beauty b. 1636. February 10 Sebastian Staskop, French painter b. 1597, T7. February 19 Jean Riel and the Younger, French anatomist b. 1577. March Edward Hopkins, colonial Connecticut politician b. 1600. March 7 Hayashi Razin, Japanese Neo-Confucianist scholar b. 1583. March 10 Barthold Nihis, Roman Catholic priest b. 1590. April Richard Lovelace, English Cavalier poet b. 1617. April 2 Ferdinand Roman III, Holy Roman Emperor b. 1608. Jean-Jacques Ollier, French Catholic priest b. 1608. April 29 Sophie Elizabeth Pence, daughter of Christian Roman IV of Denmark b. 1619. May 7 Napshima Katsushige, Japanese daimyo b. 1580. May 9 William Bradford, governor of Plymouth Colony b. 1590. May 10 Gustav Horn, Count of Pori, Swedish soldier and politician b. 1592. May 16 Andrzej Bobola, Polish Jesuit missionary b. 1591. June 3 William Harvey, English physician b. 1578. June 26 Tobias Michael, German composer and cantor b. 1592, und he too. July 17 Eleonore Marie of Anhalt-Bernburg, Duchess consort of Mecklenburg-Güstrow b. 1600. August 6 Bohdan K. H. Melnitsky, Ukrainian Cossack hetman b.c. 1595. August 14 Giovanni Paolo Lascaris, Italian 57th, Grand Master of the Knights Hospitaller b. 1560. August 19 Franz Snyders, Flemish painter b. 1579. August 7 Robert Blake, British Admiral b. 1599. August 29 John Lilburne, English dissenter b.c. 1614. September 1 Arnold Vinius, Dutch lawyer b. 1588. September 7 Arvid Wittenberg, Swedish field marshal and statesman b. 1606. September 13 Jacob van Campen, Dutch artist b. 1596. September 23 Joachim Jungius, German mathematician and philosopher b. 1587, T7. September 27 Olympia Medelcini, politically active Roman noble b. 1591. October 4 Prince Maurice of Savoy, Catholic cardinal and Prince of Savoy b. 1593. October 23 Domenico Masanzio, Italian Baroque composer b. 1586. November 5 Charles Roman II, Duke of Elbeuf, French noble b. 1596. November 10 Anders Bill, Danish general b. 1600. November 18 Luke Wadding, Irish Franciscan friar and historian b. 1588. November 20 Sir Hugh Colmely, 1st Baronet, English politician b. 1600. December 5 Johann Oxenstierna, Swedish count and statesman b. 1611. December 24 Philip Le Sueur de Petiteville, French poet b. 1607. Date unknown Willem Bentico, Dutch sea captain b. 1587-1658. January 1 Caspar Sibelius, Dutch Protestant minister b. 1590. January 2 Sir William Ermine, 2nd Baronet, English politician b. 1622. January 7 Theophilus Eaton, English-born Connecticut colonist b. 1590. January 13 Edward Sexby, English Puritan soldier b. 1616. February 19 Henry Wilmot, 1st Earl of Rochester b. 1612. March 25 Hermann Roman IV, Landgrave of Hesse-Rotenburg b. 1607, 07. February 27 Adolf Frederick I, Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin 1592. March 29 Bertuccio Valiero, Doge of Venice b. 1596. April 7 Juan Eusebio Nuremberg, Spanish mystic b. 1595. April 19 Kirsten Monk, second wife of Christian Roman IV of Denmark b. 1598. Robert Rich, 2nd Earl of Warwick, English colonial administrator, and Admiral b. 1587. April 24 Francisco Maria Riccini, Italian architect b. 1584. April 29 John Cleveland, English poet b. 1613. May 20 Bartholomew Hallrosser, German priest, visionary and writer of prophecies b. 1613. June 18 Louis Capel, French Protestant churchman and scholar b. 1585. June 8 Sir Henry Slingsby, 1st Baronet, English baronet b. 1602. June 27 Ercole Gennari, Italian drawer and painter b. 1597. July 22 Frederick, Duke of Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg-Norberg b. 1581. August 5 Gundekar, Prince of Liechtenstein, court official in Vienna b. 1580. August 6 Elizabeth Claypole, daughter of Oliver Cromwell b. 1629. August 19 Christine of Hesse-Kassel, Duchess of Saxe-Eisenach and Saxe-Coburg b. 1578. September 3 Oliver Cromwell, Lord Protector of England, Scotland, and Ireland b. 1599. September 17 Caspar von Barth, German philologist and writer b. 1587. September 22 Georg Philipp Harsdorfer, German poet b. 1607. October 14 Francesco I d'Este, Duke of Modena, Italian noble b. 1610. October 23 Thomas Pride, parliamentarian general in the English Civil War. November 4 Antoine Lemaistre, French Jansenist b. 1608. November 6 Pierre du Ryer, French dramatist b. 1606. November 7 Mita Toshitsune, Japanese warlord b. 1594. November 8 Witte de With, Dutch naval officer b. 1599. November 26 Duke Francis Henry of Saxe-Lauenburg b. 1604. November 29 Margrave Charles Magnus of Baden-Durlach b. 1621. December 6 Baltasar Gratian y Morales, Spanish writer b. 1601. December 15 Carlo Emmanuel Madrazo, Italian prince bishop b. 1599. December 20 Jean Janin, French type founder b. 1580. Date unknown. Asot Pegua, Thai businesswoman b. 1615–1659. January 2 Richard Pepys, English politician b. 1589. January 15 Juliana of Hesse-Darmstadt, Countess of East Frisia b. 1606. January 16 Charles Annibal Fabrot, French lawyer b. 1580. February Willem Drost, Dutch painter and printmaker b. 1633. February 4 Francis Osborne, English writer b. 1593. February 11 Guillaume Colletet, French writer b. 1598. February 12 Duchess Magdalene Sibylle of Prussia, Electress of Saxony b. 1586. February 15 John Arrowsmith, English theologian and academic b. 1602. February 17 Abel Servian, French diplomat b. 1593. February 27 Henry Dunster, first president of Harvard College b. 1609. March 9 Peter Bulkeley, English and later American Puritan b. 1583. March 29 Juan Bautista de Lezana, Spanish theologian b. 1586. April 15 Simon Datch, German poet b. 1605. May 6 and Eleonore of Hesse-Darmstadt, Duchess of Brunswick-Lunenburg by marriage b. 1601. May 20 Etienne de Courcelles, French scholar b. 1586. May 29 Robert Rich, 3rd Earl of Warwick b. 1611. June 3 Morgan Llwyd, Welsh Puritan preacher and writer b. 1619. June 6 Nadia Banu Begum, Mughal princess b. 1618. June 21 Afonso Menz, Patriarch of Ethiopia b. 1579. June 23 Haejong of Joseon, 17th King of the Joseon dynasty of Korea 1649–1659 b. 1619. July 5 Girolamo Spana, Italian poisoner and central figure of the Spana prosecution, executed b. 1615. August 7 Jonathan Brewster, American settler b. 1593. August 10 Eleonora Ramirez de Montalvo, Italian educator b. 1602. Frederick Roman III, Duke of Holstein-Gottorp b. 1597. August 30. Alexander Lindsay, 1st Earl of Balcarres, Scottish politician and noble b. 1618. Dara Shikoh, Indian prince b. 1615. September 8 Frederick V, Margrave of Baden-Durlach 1622–1659 b. 1594. September 27 Andreas T. Schoening, German poet b. 1611. September 30 Giovanni Pesaro, Doge of Venice b. 1589. October 1 Juan de Palafox, Y. Mendoza, Spanish politician, clergyman b. 1600. October 8 Jean de Quen, French Jesuit missionary and historian b. c. 1603. Robert Cholmondeley, 1st Earl of Leinster, English politician b. 1584. October 10 Abel Tasman, Dutch explorer b. 1603. October 27 Giovanni Francesco Busanello, Italian librettist b. 1598. October 31 John Bradshaw, English judge b. 1602. November 6 Jerome Leroyer de Landoversier, French nobleman, founder of Montreal and an order of nursing sisters b. 1597. November 7 Jens Bjelke, Norwegian noble b. 1580. November 10 Afzal Khan, Indian commander of the Bijapur Adilshahi forces. December 5 Fra Bonaventura Bissi, Italian painter b. 1601 and 01 and 01. 1. December 31 John Ozapaxi Cecier, Hungarian mathematician b. 1625. Alain de Solmenhac, French bishop and beatified person b. 1593. Date unknown in green, English domestic servant and execution survivor b.c. 1628. References equals